teaching and learning amidst the current pandemic. And here I want to briefly highlight the COVID environment at CSN, particularly as it relates to NSHE and state requirement. So first of all, it's not going to be a shock. You know this first bullet point just as good as anyone else. Nevada remains, Clark County specifically, at a very high elevated rate of COVID transmission right now. Increased mitigation efforts have been implemented, as you've been hearing about, to protect our community. Those are, and including mandatory face coverings for all vaccinated and unvaccinated people who are visiting any one of our facilities, any one of our campuses and sites. That's indoors and certainly while outdoors among groups of people. But bottom line here is indoors. And one of the questions that has come up over the last several weeks among our teaching faculty is, what if we have a non-compliance? What happens if there's a student or students who just choose not to wear a face covering? And the response is, we want you to treat it just like any other disruptive behavior within the classroom, and politely and respectfully ask that they put their face covering on. And if they choose still not to comply with these state rules, then you can certainly you can ask them to depart the classroom. And then of course you'll report it through the regular process related to the disruptive and abusive student behavior policy. All state employees, to include all of our CSN family, are required to show proof of vaccination or submit weekly test results, and that begins on August 30th. Again, for all employees, this is part-time faculty, full-time staff, part-time staff, student workers, any among our vendors even when walking on campus. And then finally, the State Board of Health approved unanimously that students will be required to get the vaccine if they intend to come to any of our campuses by November 1st. And it's no coincidence that November 1st date was selected. You may recall when the governor first made this announcement indicating that the State Board of Health was going to take this on. He indicated that fall enrollment would not be impacted, whether or not they had a vaccine or not. And really, this gave us an opportunity to put the logistics into place to stand this up. But November 1st happens to align with the season for spring 22 enrollment. And so essentially what we anticipate will happen will be that students will have a biodemo hold placed on their account through their records, and then that they'll be able to enroll thereafter. Now, there is a lot of questions, I know, related to the student vaccination and what this means and what this doesn't mean, and what about students who are fully online, do they need, and all those kinds of questions are still being addressed and being looked at. The NSHE COVID response team made up of representatives from all of our institutions, along with public health officials, are trying to negotiate sort of the playbook for what this is going to look like. And we do have just a couple of months to get this kind of underway. Next, I wanted to share the CSN support for students, faculty, and staff within this teaching and learning environment. First and foremost, as we have been saying since day one, the health and safety of all of our people, whether that be our faculty and our staff, our colleagues, our family, and our students, will be provided with personal protective equipment. It's available to all departments and all offices across the institution. There's a PPE ordering online portal where departments can order what they need to support our students who are in person and to support our staff and faculty. We'll make, and of course our chairs all know this already, as do our deans and our directors. CSN is in collaboration also, as I'm sure you heard, with Southern Nevada Health District. We've implemented extended indefinitely on campus services for COVID vaccination testing vaccination and testing. I want to remind everybody about the website to go to for updates. This is sort of the clearinghouse for where the institution posts all things COVID related as it relates to CSN and COVID. And that's at our internal site at .csn.edu/COVID-19. As we continue down the COVID environment at CSN, I just wanted to send a reminder about what reporting COVID cases looks like. How do we do it? When do we do it? How do we know to do it? All those sorts of things. And we have our wellness at csn.edu website, email address. That's wellness@csn.edu. And that's the email address in a confidential way that you'll report any exposure or diagnoses of COVID-19. This goes for all CSN students, faculty, staff, visitors. We're all asked to report based on these following bullets via the CSN COVID-19 online reporting form as well. within 24 hours of perceived exposure or certainly diagnosis. And this goes for vaccinated and unvaccinated individuals. So obviously these are the triggers, right? A positive COVID-19 test result, or if you've undergone COVID-19 testing and you're just awaiting the results, exhibiting symptoms of COVID-19 and did not come to campus because of it. You're exhibiting symptoms of COVID-19 while on campus and then you later left. This is to ensure the close contact protocols can be put into place for proper communication. You've been in close contact with a confirmed COVID-19 case within 6 feet. This is how this is defined, within 6 feet of the person for 15 or more minutes over a 24-hour period of time. That's what's defined as that close contact space. And then if you've received COVID-19 related instructions or guidance from the Southern Nevada Health District or health provider specifically, and you were asked perhaps to quarantine as a result, all these bullets here are the trigger points as it relates to when to report. And this again goes for all of our students, all of our faculty, and all of our staff across all of our sites, all of our employees, etc. This is the slide that I really want to emphasize, maybe more than anything in this whole entire presentation today. Over the last 8, 9, 10 months, 12 months, 16 months, as we've all been enduring the variety of consequences related to this pandemic and everything that has come about because of it and a result of it or in parallel to it, no doubt all of us are experiencing a variety of mental and physical health challenges. No doubt we have all suffered loss of loved ones. We have experienced financial loss. Our students, same. Our students have suffered loss of loved ones. Our students have suffered with financial loss. Our students, as you know, are caregivers to their own children. They are caregivers to family members. Many of our students have lost their employment throughout this pandemic, and some are regaining footing on that front right now. And as I mention all these things because I think now more than ever, if we put our human hats on again, like I know we always wear, but as we're reminded, as we've kind of been out of the classroom for the last several weeks, just to kind of be reminded of the importance of meeting our students where they are, recognizing that they have all kinds of cognitive dissonance, probably just like we do. And so I encourage you to do what you do best, right? Meet our students where they are, connect with students, know their names, know their stories, make sure we're serving as liaisons to support them in connection with a variety of different academic and support services. As you identify, something funny happens when self-disclosure occurs, right, between us as faculty, maybe on that first day. This reciprocity of self-disclosure begins to be established, as I know you all know. In other words, I tell you a little bit about my experiences, and no doubt our students will begin to establish trust lines to us and tell us a little bit about their experiences, even if it has nothing to do with our subject matter. And while there's a safe line between appropriateness and inappropriateness, and you all know where that line lays, the point I'm trying to make is as we know who our students are in our classrooms and we get to know their stories and we get to understand the levels that they're faced with in terms of anxiety or depression or stress that is no doubt endemic of this pandemic, I ask that you'll point them in the right direction. I ask that you'll make sure they understand that they're not alone in this environment, and we're here not only for their academic success, but for their human success. We have deployed tens of thousands of dollars at CSN to our students in the way of student basic emergency grants over the last several months, and I'm really proud of that. But I also know we have students whose needs are still unmet in a variety of ways. We have kept our Coyote Food Pantry open and deployed even the most basic of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, survival needs around food and drink to our students, and we know that's still not enough. So I just ask, as you're thinking about meeting our students where they are, whether that be through the virtual realm in your instruction and in your teaching or face-to-face, that we always remain human and make sure our students understand that we're human too, and we're experiencing the scenarios in many ways just like they are. I found some interesting statistics that were fairly recent this year that I wanted to share with you just to make this kind of even more real if you haven't seen these data in a minute. 40% of our students who need help fail to seek help. 40%, 4 in 10. 80% of our students feel overwhelmed by the responsibilities as a student. They're juggling what they're doing in our classrooms, they're juggling what they have going on at their homes and their employment, if they're lucky enough to have it. 50% have struggled greatly with anxiety and as a result have struggled in school. 1 in 2 students. 30% of our students reported that they had problems with schoolwork due to mental health issues. 50% of our students rated their mental health below average or poor. These statistics are very real, and they're not nuanced to CSN students. These are representative of the national story related to what this pandemic has kind of caused and the social unjustness that has occurred in parallel to the pandemic in a variety of ways. We see what's happening in Afghanistan even right now, and we think about our veterans, both in our teaching and staff ranks, as well as our students. And we recognize that what we're seeing play out in this world right now is no doubt also contributing, amidst a pandemic, also contributing to severe mental health challenges. So I, again, ask that you remain human, that you connect with our students in ways that will be empathetic, will meet our students where they are, will provide that extra helping hand if and when they need it. And please hear me, I'm certainly not suggesting that we reduce our rigor or reduce our expectations, far from it. I'm just saying, in midst of all of our regular teaching obligations, I encourage us all to take that extra care with our students this year.